Hi, I'm Morgan Gorley. I'm a graphic and web designer at Paragon Marketing Group, and today I'm going to be talking about designing for web versus designing for print. Since I'm both a graphic and web designer, this topic has basically been my entire college career. Today I'm going to go over 4 specific differences between web and graphic design. So first is interaction. How do users interact with your design? The main thing to think about when designing for the web is usability. You want to make sure that your website is user-friendly and easy to navigate. This can be accomplished through good use of white space, contrasting colors, and readability. Competing for attention on the web is definitely hard. With things like web ads and social media, it's important that you stand out. With graphic design, the usability aspect is a little different, since printed pieces can be held and experienced through textures or 3D printed elements. There's also a sense of competition for print pieces, whether it be pieces in the mail or even billboards on the highway. Interaction leads into the second design difference, which is the senses. I find this point really interesting because web and graphic design cater to different senses. What's the first sense you think of that we use to interact with websites? It's our sight, right? Websites are very visual and we view them on our laptops, phones, iPads, etc. We're not only using our sight to look at the website itself, but we're also watching any videos that might be on the website as well. This brings us to our sense of hearing. Lots of times, websites utilize our sense of hearing to capture our attention, whether it be through videos or audio files like podcasts. Unfortunately, Google did change their audio policy, so background noises on websites are disabled. What about graphic design then? The 2 biggest senses that come to mind are sight and touch. The great thing about graphic design is that printed pieces are tangible, which is something that can't be said for web design. This allows design to be enhanced with textures like smooth and glossy or rigid and bumpy. Of course, printed pieces are visual, and just like with web design, it's good to keep effective white space in mind and aesthetic, contrasting colors. I feel like smell and hearing can also be added to the list of senses for print designs. My example would be those perfume or cologne ads in magazines with the peel and sniff samples, and the greeting cards that play songs or make noises when you open them. These are all possibilities to keep in mind for graphic design. So we have interaction and the senses used to interact with both. My third point deals with how these affect the longevity or life cycle of a piece. Let's start with graphic design. When a piece is made, say a flyer, it is designed specifically for a certain product or event. It's hard to change that design once the flyer is printed. It's not cost-effective to continually print off new flyers for, say, date changes or price updates. This is why proofreading and drafting approval is important. Graphic design would be considered a static design. Web design, on the other hand, is a bit more forgiving when it comes to changes. Content design can be updated on the fly, whether it's through a content management system like WordPress or hand coding. The design of a website doesn't have a specific life cycle because updates can be made on the fly. My last point gets into the fine details of the design differences between web and graphics. I'm talking about color, resolution, and fonts. First up is color. Colors used for the web are RGB, or red, green, and blue. All digital colors are comprised from these 3 and are identified with hex values. These hex values are then used in HTML and CSS coding. It's also important to remember that colors for web design may not stay consistent from one device to another. In graphic design, we use CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. These are the 4 ink colors used to create colors for print jobs. Image resolution is also measured differently. For web, we use PPI, pixels per inch, and for graphic design, we use DPI, dots per inch. This refers to how tightly the ink dots are placed on the paper. The optimal resolution for web design is 72 PPI and 300 DPI for graphic design. Typography is the art of arranging type and isn't as half and half, but the main difference comes in readability. It's important that fonts be legible on a website. Sans serif fonts such as Helvetica or Arial are good standard fonts to use in web design. That's not to say that fancy decorative fonts can't be used in websites, but they should be used in moderation. Graphic design, of course, has a more free range when it comes to typography, seeing as it's kind of its own division of graphic design. There's a lot that goes into typography, such as leading, kerning, and tracking, which are different for all fonts from serif to decorative. That could probably be in a video all its own, but for now, these are my 4 points covering some of the differences between web and graphic design. If you have any questions or would like to help, we are here to help you in any way we can. Feel free to give us a call at 262-443-9092 or email us at info@paragonmarketinggroup.com. Thank you.
Whee!